All right, cold beer here. What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. I'm Matthew, here with Tilly and Spencer. Where's the meat? Big meat.
I don't have any beef jerky on site right now. I don't have any ready. I'm unprepared.
It's very strange. Very unprepared.
You mean you're not eating fucking jerky right in the screen? Where's your?
Unfortunately,
where's your product placement?
Never get to eat it.
Don't worry. I'll edit in a little bag of Spencer's jerky right behind him, so that we all know that he's not lying. That he's lying. That he has jerky. I'll just put it right there on
picture in picture
on the little. I can pop that on there. It'll be a piece of cake.
Well, we happy to have you on, dude. Welcome. Look forward to hearing about your craft beer journey
and jerky journey,
and then obviously hear more about the meat. What's happening with you, Tilly?
I don't know. Like, we're approaching, football season, which is exciting, but also at the same time, these COVID numbers are up, and I'm like, I'll go. I'm watching. But I did see a thing that University of Florida put out that said they expected COVID numbers in Florida to peak over the next couple weeks and then start to go down. So I'll try to track that down and send it to you if you're curious. But I don't know. Life's good. Yeah. I'm enjoying my life.
The same group of folks can only get the same shit over and over, so many times before it just becomes a cold. But yeah, I don't even bother reading most of the stuff except for if I see shit like from the Mayo Clinic, so I can read, real stuff. That's just an example because I just saw something from the Mayo Clinic. Man, hopefully y'all didn't get these welfare vaccines out here and everybody got the Moderna, because Moderna data looks way better than everyone else's, like double better than Pfizer in terms of its efficacy. And I don't think that people were expecting that, early on. So not that I'm like, not that this is great, but I'm just like, COVID is game. COVID is game to play. It's like, oh, we got vaccines. Watch this. And it's like Notre Dame in 1938 throwing a pass. You're like, oh shit.
What the fuck?
Oh my God. How'd that happen? But yeah, man, I've been doing the same thing I've been doing since the beginning. So
yeah, pretty much me as well.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
What's it like up there in your neck of the woods? Anyway, I know. I don't know. What's it like up there, Spencer? How y'all doing up there?
We're at this weird part. It kind of correlates really closely with that tweet that University of Florida put out. Like, it went from being pretty much completely open. You might see like a couple people, wearing masks around, to where now like places are starting to put up signs where it's like it went from signs that said like wear one unless you're vaccinated to like you should probably just wear one. They're like, yeah. Please wear one.
I was at Kohl's today and it said the actual paper sign said, we strongly recommend that you wear masks.
See, I had to go shopping. I went into Publix on Main Street in Gainesville, which is pretty laissez-faire about the whole thing in general. And there was like only 2 people in there that weren't wearing a mask. Everyone else was wearing a mask. So I'm like, well, I feel like without any sort of mandate, people are just doing what they feel is best, and and it's kind of like a self-adjusting kind of type of thing. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We could talk about all this randomness and all this stuff as much as we want. But yeah, we always touch up on some current events a little bit. But we have with us today Spencer of Spencer's Jerkin Jerky. You can spend a lot of money on jerky from anywhere because jerky tends to be expensive. But if you're going to spend money on quality jerky, you should definitely just buy Spencer's Jerkin Jerky. This is not sponsored. I just like it a lot. I'm a fan. But so we're happy to have him on, and we're going to talk about beer. We're going to talk about meat. We're going to talk about NLI deals, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Sounds good.
There's a bunch happening out there. Currently, at the moment, there's some baseball teams playing in a cornfield. That's cool. There's some pro football games on right now. Finally seem to be on the home stretch here of summer.
Yeah, once you get past to you get to like preseason type of football, and you start seeing like, fall camp type of stuff start to occur. That's when you're on the home stretch of that kind of like dry sports time frame.
It feels good. It feels good. I smoke a lot of weed, and I almost forgot that we were going to record this tonight. So I was about to go to the bar to watch football, but I'm glad I didn't, because it's like that. Every single time, I didn't even do it to myself for the Hall of Fame game, but every time you go to watch the preseason game, you're so hyped up, and then you get like maybe 3 or 4 plays on the first drive that are decent.
Like,
and it's just like, and then it looks like just a bunch of sloppy football. But it's great to come. It's great that it's coming back. I'm really excited. Yeah. It's not cooling down up here. It's been like 99 degrees, but
yeah, we're all in the same boat. I feel like in the entirety of North Florida or North America with that heat. It's just ever present right now, because it was definitely up there down here today. Obviously as well.
It was incredible today. I actually ran. I did 100 sprints, because I do sprints, and it was like 1:30 p.m. and I'm like, fuck it. And I walked outside and I was like impressed. I was like, oh, because it's hot every day, you know what I mean? Like whatever. And I was like, because I had no shirt on, like I was feeling the heat, and I'm like, man, it was real hot today.
Toasty.
And then I just had then I got these mini PTSD, sort of shocks from fucking fall camp and shit. And I was like, oh my God, can you imagine? Can you imagine having to have 2 practices in this? Now, granted, they don't do 2 practices anymore. But still, putting even on the pads and that. Yeesh.
See, I always, when Florida was talking about building an indoor facility, you always have the naysayers that are like, well, wait a minute, but we don't want our players to be soft. And I'm like, I don't necessarily want them to die in fall camp either. So, I'm sure they're conditioning them and making them do stuff outside as well, but you can have some covered up stuff, and you have a place to practice when it's like thunderstorms and stuff. But yeah, it's exciting. I like to see it. I drive around on campus. I work there, and I see football players and stuff walking around. I'm like, oh boy, it's almost time. So I'm very excited about that.
Just make sure you get tickets on the right side of the stadium, whatever your stadium is, because I'm on the alumni side. I don't care who it is. I'm not going if I'm catching sun in September in Florida at a ball game.
I'm on the alumni side. I should be fairly okay. I get the early games, I get a little bit, and then it passes behind the big boxes behind, and it's fine. So my seats are great. I love them. But anyway,
what are you drinking?
Busch Light.
I saw it.
I was at the brewery yesterday. And I told you I was gonna grab some beer to bring back, and I just didn't.
Nectar of the gods.
I forgot.
I've always got random fancy beers around. These are empties I've got, and then I've always got some classy craft beers around. But tonight we weren't doing the tasting, and I felt like Busch lattes were the best way to do it.
You're basically your beer has only a little bit more alcohol in it than my non-beer. Have you seen any of these over at the Boxcar?
Are they there? I'll have to go run by and see. Hemp seltzer.
They picked up a few cases here and there. These are going to start to get out a lot more now. Yeah, this is non-alcoholic CBD Seltzer, full spectrum, 20 milligrams.
Did you know? Have you guys seen PBR has a THC seltzer? I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I haven't seen that yet.
I think it's only in California. They like
just
weird
gonna
shit in
see-
small markets.
Yeah, but see, it's not legal. So I don't know. I mean, even in California, because recreational, the TTB governs alcohol, so it's not legal. So I don't know.
Maybe it was just a Photoshop.
Or maybe
Might
they
be.
do like
Could
Is
be
it a
essence,
non-alcoholic?
like an essence. It could be non-alcoholic. No, it
Could
can't. Yeah, it
Could
could.
it be?
Yeah, it could.
Could it be a non-alcoholic seltzer, like not a hard seltzer, just a THC seltzer?
Yep.
Because I can see why they wouldn't want to.
Legally, it could be.
I'm
Yeah.
finally
Anyway.
different kind of buzz. High seltzer, strawberry kiwi, 10 milligrams THC.
But just seltzer, right?
Each 12-ounce can has either 5 or 10 milligrams THC, or as we call it, the right amount to start having a good time, depending on your experience. Thanks to our advanced emulsion technology powered by Vertosa, our cannabis-infused seltzer works quicker than an average edible, and also for the most effective absorption into your system, so you won't be left waiting for hours to feel a buzz. There's no mention of alcohol, so
Yeah, probably not.
It's got to be non-alcoholic then.
It's not alcoholic. This product does not contain alcohol, so that's how they got it.
I mean, that's basically what we're doing, but we aren't allowed to use THC, so we have CBD, and
CBD.
there's been nobody in the States done it except for us, and then Proof did it, and they literally did the same flavor we did.
That's pretty amazing, because you imagine you could see a dude shotgunning those seltzers at a party, and then like he's not drunk at all, but he's just incredibly stoned. Wouldn't that be bizarre to watch?
Yeah, well, see, that's why I don't think that something like that I think makes sense, especially because you're going to be selling it retail. But THC and beer doesn't make any sense to me, because I want people to drink a lot of beer when they're at the brewery. You can't. I mean, you'd have to microdose the shit out of that. Otherwise, people have a beer and you're going to be super fucked up, and then that's over.
and then you get into the people like me who really just don't combine the two. I have to do one or the other. If I'm drinking, I got to just stick with that.
Yeah,
And vice versa as well.
I would come to your brewery because I'm usually like sneaking out back to like smoke with the bartenders, so like it'd probably work out for me.
Yeah, we finally we got some more of these coming out here too. They'll be heading around the state. We're gonna start to make a little bit more of that. I'm definitely a fan of CBD. Full spectrum CBD is a significantly better experience than the traditional isolate, and a lot of people are using the isolate because it mixes better. It's clearer, but to me, seltzers at this point in time should be colored, because people are buying with their eyes. And I know, like, the High Noons and the White Claws and all that shit, like, that's not really the game we're playing in. Those guys are in a different category almost, in my opinion, and people just want that clear, easy, whatever drink. But when you look on Instagram at breweries and shit, it's all crazy, weird looking stuff that people want. And so you can use full spectrum if you color it, if you color the product and cover it up, and it gives it this interesting dankness that's cool. And also it works way better because we've tried it both ways. It's a lot cooler experience. At one point, my wife said she's not going to ever drink beer again after having one.
That's awesome.
But
He's like, wait a minute.
She has rescinded.
Well, Spencer, I know you've probably told this story probably 100 times in various podcasts and other forms. But what do you do, and how did you go from what you do to making beef jerky?
Yeah, I'll try to. It's a very long story. I'll try to keep it short so I can include you guys. So my day job, I work for a home security company. We're the 5th biggest one in the country. I won't throw that name out there just because I'm talking about how much weed I smoke. If they look hard enough, they'll find my boss already knows. But anyway, my current position, I'm a customer experience trainer. So basically, my job is the way I dumb it down is I teach adults and babysit adults how to not be assholes and give awesome customer service, like the best in the industry. But then at the same time, they also need to be able to know how to troubleshoot a wireless security system remotely over the phone without going to a customer's house. And that's not something new. for COVID, to bring it full circle. We've always been 100% do-it-yourself system. Send to the customer and let them figure it out. So, for example, like, Silk texts me all the time asking why his camera might stop working or something like that. Because we got a system. My system's actually down in the Cush house, protecting that, for example. So that's my day job. But I started that company 8 years ago as an entry-level employee on the phones, and then just slowly worked my way up. And then now I train our sales department, our retention department, and our customer support department. So, I mean, that's what I do for 40 to 50 hours of my week. And I also happen to be a snack food kingpin. People have called me more recently and stuff like that. The beef jerky thing was never a plan. I never sat out to start a company or to actually become my own boss, hopefully full time eventually. But one day at a bar, a bunch of people were playing Golden Tee. I don't know if you guys ever played that game at the bar. Yep. You guys like beer, so you guys know it. I've been on a few podcasts where what's Golden Tee? I'm like, well, let me tell you.
Let me tell you about Big Game Hunter next.
For listeners, it's playing a video golf inside a bar. But these guys used to go to the bar after they just played a full 18 holes drinking beers. Actually, at Donald Trump's golf course, because that's actually, unfortunately, really close to my house right here. It's down the street. And they got wasted there and then would show up at the bar. And I'm fast forwarding the story a little bit, but I happen to have the first time I ever made beef jerky for myself. I was trying to make myself a snack. I brought this to the bar, and these guys were like, "What the hell do you have?" Because I had it in a brown paper lunch bag. And I'm at a dive bar just eating brown paper lunch bag snacks, right? So they were like, "What the fuck are you eating?" So try it. It's beef jerky. So I gave them both a piece. All the pieces I make, especially even back then, were this long. I know you guys put this on streaming podcasts too, but or non-video formats, but a good 11-incher of beef jerky, and they were they go over and they were playing golf, and they came back and they were like, "How much to buy that same size bag?" And I actually had 2 pounds of beef jerky in this brown paper bag, and I had no idea. So I'm like, "Oh, it's your turn again." And I was fucking Googling on my phone, how much does beef jerky cost per pound? Because normally you go to the store, it's 3.5 ounces, small amounts, a little bit of air. So I had no idea. The funny thing was, I started at $60, but we ended up settling at $50. And since that day, my jerky's been $25 a pound. I've never changed the prices, even though I've been told 1,000 times I should, and I probably should. I just was like, I'm not going to do it. I've had inflation problems. When COVID first happened, you couldn't find steak at the butcher, and I had 100 orders on my website. There's been a lot of shit that's gone down, but I was like, you know what? I'm just always going to leave the price the same. I might regret it someday, but
it's quality.
It's okay.
It's quality stuff too. So
$25 a pound.
Yeah,
it's quality.
It's a good
price.
I think it's a good price, right?
Especially
if you do the math
and especially for handmade. He makes all the jerky. So
so you're saying people think you should raise your prices?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've been told that forever ago, even when I was selling it just to people I knew locally. I would pay way more for this. I'm I'm sure you would.
It's a great price.
Yeah. But I don't know. I've kept it the same. I'm not Netflix.
Now, so if you could make a subscription jerky service, think about it. Think about it.
People have brought that one up so many times, and I honestly think that I would have gone that route if not for the fact that my day job, the security company, we're a subscription service, and there's a lot of good that comes out of that. But I've dealt with people who have forgotten that they had it and had to call in, and I just I really don't want to open up that can of worms with this thing.
Hey,
my customers are usually loyal enough that most of them come back. It's pretty crazy, but before this year, because my analytics are kind of askew now with selling the Dez shirts, which we'll talk about later. But now that makes my numbers skewed because so many new people are coming just to buy the shirt. But prior to that happening, I had 41 to 46% of people buying had bought before every month, which is pretty crazy. And I don't know if you guys have ever looked at Shopify. if you guys use Shopify in like the beer world or anything like that, Matt, but like it gives you all these crazy analytics like that. It will tell me everything as far as like someone will buy this beer, they're probably gonna buy this beer too. All kinds of crazy stuff like that. It's a great tool for small businesses. So that's my little plug for Shopify.
It's a hard road to hoe with selling beer because of the shipping and the legalities. I'm actually speaking in a month in Denver at the Craft Brewers Conference on a panel about direct to consumer, because it's all the laws make it way tougher, and lobbies haven't done a good enough job for beer. For wine they have. So, right now you go online and get a wine membership from a winery in California. They'll ship to you 4 times a year. But beer is different for stupid reasons, and we got to start fixing that, because tools like Shopify are significantly better than the kind of stuff that we have now, because it's had to deal with all these interstate laws, and kind of sucks.
It's actually amazing that you say that your issue is direct to consumer, because on my side of the world, with the meat side of the world, that is the easiest shit in the world for me to do. But I'm the polar opposite. The Department of Agriculture is at my neck if I try to wholesale it. I'm allowed to do what I do in a commercial kitchen. I can cook it. I can make it there. I can do everything I need to do. I can ship it to you. I can even go stand in your brewery and set up a table.
Yep.
As long as I'm there, I can do anything I want. But God forbid I was like, here, Matt, sell my jerky. That's a no-no. You can't do that. So my issue with meat is the wholesaler aspect. Now, I have also been told by the Department of Agriculture that I'm in the worst state of Virginia to try to do what I'm doing. I was like, well, that's just how my life works out. I'll overcome it. But, I was like, that's just how the odds usually fall. Cards usually fall. But I'm only allowed to do direct consumer until I get into a factory. So I'm visiting a factory hopefully in September. But it's the polar opposite. That's interesting that they do it with wine. Yeah, so I have to have the loophole is or not the loophole, but the regulation is I have to have a FDA inspector on site with me in an FDA facility. And there's commercial kitchens. You can rent commercial kitchens. I don't know if they're big down in Florida. There's a bunch around here, but there's no inspector. They give you a key fob, and you pay a monthly fee. I piggyback off my buddy with the barbecue company that Tilly loves.
That barbecue sauce is amazing.
Yeah. So I always piggyback off him, because that's where he would he had to do that too for catering. He had to barbecue. He has a fucking $10,000, $15,000 smoker. He has to go park the smoker at this commercial kitchen in Virginia in order for it to be, okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it does a lot of crazy rules, and they'll give you different reasoning. They told me it's to protect the business, but to be honest with you, the brewery was more upset than I was, because
I'm getting
ahead of myself, but they were selling my jerky, so they couldn't anymore.
And breweries are sick and fucking tired about getting told by the state, whatever state it is, that you can't do this and you can't do that. It's fucking ridiculous.
I think they finally changed the law up here, and then we can stop bad talking laws and regulations, I guess. But there was a law in Virginia that I only found out with because of me and my buddy going and setting up barbecue at different breweries, and none of the breweries have food. But not every brewery, but 8 out of 10 breweries in Northern Virginia, you're going to find an industrial park in the middle of like a spot that has a bunch of mechanics and a whole bunch of shit around there, and finally, there was one brewery we kept going to and I got real comfortable with, and I was like, why do you guys hide yourselves as breweries? I know this is a lot of space, but there's office buildings. And there was some kind of crazy law in Virginia where, and I think they changed it, but it was you had to have a 51 to 49% split between food and alcohol sales. But if you're in an industrial park, you didn't even have to have food. So all these breweries were like, haha, they found a loophole back in the day. And then they always relied on caterers, food trucks, and stuff like that. And that's what's helped my buddy and me get a lot bigger, But I think they've gotten rid of that since then. But it was the craziest thing, because I'm always like, why? I get lost every brewery I try to go to.
or try to find parking at those types of places, and you're like, where the hell do I even park around here?
It'd be interesting to see what those rules are, because there are different licenses on the alcohol licensing side. at least in the state of, in Minnesota and in Florida, I know at least, you can get multiple different kinds of licenses to sell alcohol. Obviously, the easiest ones to get are the beer and wine licenses. And then there's two of those. One is a 2COP, which just is like what we are. It allows us to sell it on site, also package it to go. So you're basically, that's like if you're going to be a liquor store and sell, or an alcohol store and sell only beer and wine, you need a 2COP. But then there's SRX. SRX is a 5150 food to alcohol law, but that allows you to serve full booze. So almost all restaurants do the SRX. Like if you're an actual restaurant, because why wouldn't you want to sell fucking cocktails?
I grew up in Jersey for a while, and Jersey is really wild with their liquor licenses, and they're tied to an address. So like you could have a little shack that like needs a new roof and like, you know, is full of rats, and someone will give you like 500 grand for it because the liquor license is probably 200 or 300 grand right there. Yeah. But the funniest thing was, I forget where it was. I'm 99% sure it's somewhere in New Jersey, and I think the rule there is with any bar you have to have some sort of food in order to be able to serve alcohol. And I can't remember what alcohol they served. It might have just been like cheap beer and like shots. But my buddy had gone there somewhere in North Jersey, and they did have two menu items you could order. You could buy a Hot Pocket.
Yep.
It was $10. Or, and I swear to God, I'm not trying to be funny, but it's kind of funny. The second thing on the menu was a plate of soup, and they served it with a fork.
Yeah.
My buddy ordered the Hot Pocket, and they told him like, you know, the first person to order one since an employee needed one for lunch like 6 years ago. I wish I could find out where that was. I'll have to circle back and let you guys know, but it exists somewhere.
When the COVID rules here were getting weird in the middle of that whole deal, when they shut down everybody, then they opened back restaurants and bars, and then they shut back down bars only the second time around. And so that happens to include breweries, unless of course you're us or like us and you are a licensed restaurant. So those places then were told by the state, you know, if you had any kind of food license, then you could open, basically. And so all these breweries were doing that. They were all setting up people had fucking the hot dog rollers. People had Hot Pockets. One of them like made this whole video about how they were going to give you a piece of bread with mayo on it. Like, like it got out of hand, but because people were just pissed, basically. You know, that's what that bar is saying. They're saying to the state, they're like, dude, fuck you. You know, our people come here for shots. They don't eat here. Here's a Hot Pocket.
There's a place in Atlantic City that's kind of like half a strip club and half a bar, and they have this
like
thing,
my kind of place
that they ran into, and like when I say half, it's like literally split apart. So there's a lot of weird rules I can get into about that too.
But you can see from one side to the other, right?
Pretty much. Like there's it's bigger than a normal door. It's like the door into your dining room, you know, if it's like the archway. But the funnier thing was, like, because the food regulation, you have to have food. Every beer you ordered at this bar, and they give you this little shitty beer, you got a personal pizza. It was like this big, you know. It was like maybe 6 or 7 inch big. It wasn't even 10-inch pizza, but every beer you got a 10-inch pizza. I went there one time. I'm like already like browning out, and my buddy took me there, and I must have ate like, I don't know, 6 pizzas. They were small, but I was like, I barely remember.
Because every beer they gave you one.
Every beer, and it's like it was probably like an 8 or 9 ounce beer, and then like 8 or 9 inch pizza. You know, it wasn't even a small size pizza from a normal restaurant. It was just one of the weirdest places.
That's great. I've been to a half strip club, half bar thing. Those places are. I actually didn't even know. We were in a bus and we were going into the bar. I literally didn't even know it was a strip club until 10 minutes later. Because I was at the bar and I was drinking, and the next thing I know, a fucking naked chick came and started talking to this guy next to me, and I was like, oh.
Oh, wait a
Where are
minute.
your clothes?
And then and it was that direction, and so I was like, I was like looking at my friends like, holy shit, it's a strip club. Oh man, it was like one of those super happy surprises, like it's a bar
Every once
and
in a
a strip
while,
club.
every once in a while, you get surprised, but it's a good surprise. You
I'm
know, a
not
lot of
sure
times
about
the
this bar.
surprise in your life, in situations like that where you get surprised at a bar, is usually a bad surprise.
Yeah,
But every once in a while, it works out.
yeah, it was so great. Can you imagine? Like I thought we were in a small town, man, and weird shit happened. Dude, I thought something really weird was happening.
Like, oh god, I'm gonna get arrested, aren't I?
To my friend,
Fuck.
like I was like, that girl is fucking naked. Oh man, I remember that. But like the different law, like I've told people this. You could write a PhD level dissertation on. You probably would write two on the different states' liquor laws and how it varies from state to state, because even inside of states it varies from county to county, and it there's it's so crazy how weird it is about how weird we are about alcohol. But really, that's one thing. But what you said too about meat, that just tells everybody out there, like
It's not
the
limited.
the states are crazy about everything because they figure out ways to legally steal money from you, and that's why it's set up. That's why it's
Well,
so weird. Because
and then
every
they
single
blame it
law
on,
changes money for somebody.
and then they blame it on. Well, we're protecting this person or we're protecting that person, and the only person they're protecting is the funds coming into the state.
Yeah,
Person,
I mean,
air quote.
that's it. They got to be most of the time when, like, if we're looking at an issue and trying to figure out how to do it, legally, the answer always is as long as the state gets their money, they're never going to come for you, because that's why they come for you. There's no other reason,
Yeah.
But yeah, that I didn't obviously know that about meat, but
It's not surprising though, right?
I would
Learning that
now I want to
is
know
not surprising.
I bet you want to know what the rules are in Florida, right? Because I want to know now. You told me, because in Virginia you said they can't do that, so now I'm like,
Well, what can you do here?
I'm sure it's totally fucking different here, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
It's probably very similar, but also very different at the same time. Like, it's got to be like one of those types of things.
This guy, I don't know where he was from. This guy from the Department of Agriculture. I have him on speed dial now. He used to call me all the time to check up on me. He thought I was still trying to sell jerky all over the place at these breweries. And I was like, I promise you, it worked out in my favor because I had no idea. You Google all these things, but this guy even told me he only has a job because all the rules vary so much from state to state and they're so obscure that you can't find them.
Yeah.
So they mailed me a workbook. But now the cool thing is I can call him, and he's cool with me now. He knows I'm not doing anything wrong. But I can call him if I have a crazy idea. I'm like, hey, like, can I do this? And he's got supervisors he can check with and whatnot. But yeah, he's from the South, and he's told me, yeah, you're in the worst state. He's like, I've lived other places and done this, and like, you're actually in the worst one. And I was like,
Yeah.
Great.
That's
I'm glad I found this idea here.
Yeah.
So, well, what's your? I'm not like where do you see yourself in 5 years and 10 years? No, but like, obviously you've turned kind of like this hobby, because I mean I was buying stuff from you when it was kind of pseudo a hobby, like you were developed and you had flavors and stuff. Where do you see yourself taking it from a hobby into more? Because that's always like the questions, like, can you take something you love to do and enjoy, and how do you kind of translate that into something you can make a real life living off of that you don't need to keep working your current job?
Yeah, that used to be like the easiest fucking question. And it's gotten harder because like in the past, like, I don't know, the past month has been pretty crazy because like I had no idea I was going to get in on the NIL deal, which we'll talk about. And then, like, I don't know, I'm sponsoring a radio show in Jacksonville. And then, like, still working with the roll-up. And, like, I had no idea that, like, all that stuff was kind of, like, going to kind of snowball at once, right? Because when I started this thing, I was trying to make myself a snack. because I just like eat a lot of food, and I saw an infomercial, and it was power air fryer oven, and I could make all these snacks, including jerky, and I'm like, cool. And then like it wasn't until I shipped an order to somebody, and then I shipped an order to somebody I didn't know, and I was like, I want to ship this to all 50 states. And it took me like a year of having a website to have customers in all 50 states in multiple countries beyond that, right? So I was just like, holy shit, like I have to believe myself when I told myself I was gonna hit all 50 states. But then that happened, I'm like, oh, okay, so that's possible. Now it's been so long now, that was last year, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I wonder if I've hit all 50 states twice. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, you know, I don't know, like, I'm hoping, I used to always like, and maybe it's just because I watch Shark Tank, watch them like rip apart retail and just the fact that it's not great. But I think I want to get into retail, even if I have my own retail space, you know. I see that people send me pictures that I haven't talked to in 10 years because they're on vacation somewhere and they see like a jerky shack somewhere, shit like that. I'm like, that'd be really cool, just to have my website running. Yeah, and then be able to like just go do that and still be like the jerky guy in some small town near the beach, near the water, you know, type of thing. But I'm hoping to visit the factory next month. Right, we're in August, yeah, next month, and this guy wants to partner with me. I don't know what that entails yet, but hopefully to figure it out. I don't want to get in Walmart. Everyone's like, you can get in Walmart someday, and I'm like, yeah, they're the biggest retailer in the world, but like. This might have just been me like drinking and smoking on this, but like I wouldn't really feel honored to be on the shelf next to like really shitty beef jerky. So
yep.
They got really shitty beef jerky there. Biggest retailer or not. So I was like, you know what? I wrote it down and I'm like, I want Wawa and Publix. Those are the two I want to check off. I've got the tweet somewhere bookmarked, and that's what I'm hoping the next step will be.
I mean, if money,
like those places, you know.
I mean, if Walmart showed you what that looked like on paper, you might maybe possibly read it.
You gotta at least read the number to know what your limit is, what your number is. That you're like, okay, yeah, I'll sell out.
I'll finish the
See, you just got to tell them in negotiation. You got to bring that big meat check. Bring that big meat.
I'm gonna ask for more. I'm gonna ask for more, and they're gonna turn around the laptop, and it's gonna be this show. And they're gonna be like,
"Oh, damn it!"
Like, fuck.
Something like that. Like that's the kind of thing that happens. You see it all the time where you've got, you know, like you make it into Publix, you've made it. You make it into Wawa. Oh shit, I made it. And like there might be 3 or 4 more of those, and you're like, oh my god! And now you really literally have made it, and you could probably chill on that, and mailbox money
comes in.
Mailbox money for the rest of your life. And but then Walmart sends you a proposal, and you could be like, I don't have to do anything anymore. And usually that's the motivation. I think a lot of people are like, well, if I need to hustle, I'll find one, but I would like to go to Jamaica for like 3 months too. So maybe I'll.
I do think about that sometimes to kind of relate it to what you're saying too, because I got a buddy. I call him Dr. Schaller. His name's Dan Schaller, but he was always working towards getting his PhD, and now he's got that like twofold or some shit. But smart as hell, way smarter than me. I dropped out of school to sell snacks. That's not entirely true, but that's what eventually happened. He always told me, like, anytime I told him, he doesn't do it all the time because I'm just making a dickhead. But every time, I reached like a new plateau, you know, I might text him or something. He would be like, just don't admire your shot too long. And that always resonated with me in the back of my mind. Like every time I do something, and I'm like, well, that's pretty crazy. I'm like, yeah, but let me just put that over here. Make sure like I partition it, you know, no cellulose computer. So I'm like a partition, you know, and have this other memory over here. And I'm like, okay, like that's great and all, and I'm gonna celebrate that, and I'm really excited. But like, let me use that as motivation for the next one. And I feel like that's accelerated a lot of what I've done, you know, over the past couple of years for sure.
Yeah. No, that's the way that some people are built. I know I'm built that way because and sometimes to my detriment too, because I got all these different projects in mind. I got all the shit I want to do, and some people are like, whoa. Just how about just figure out this one, And there's merit. There's merit to that, to that conversation. But that's not who I am. So I was like, well, yeah, I don't disagree with you, but this is what I do.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I will say that the world needs a balance. It needs y'all with that type of mentality. It needs other people, and it somehow all works together and just kind of bundles together into.
It needs a conservative and a progressive end on the spectrum. Like this is, it's like it's really, really synergistic in general. Like everything you need that those people, because otherwise, if it was all people like me, dude, it'd be fucking the place would have been burnt down. Well,
I was trying some new shit, and well, you see, but with innovation comes the risk of burning the entire place down.
Yeah, you're like, whoa. Oh, you're 3/4 of the way through this project, and you're doing this new one now. We're here now, and like if you look at our parents' generation, because that's not the way that they were at all. There obviously were some, but mostly, well, my parents at least, baby boomers, they were at the same jobs for their careers. That's what they did, and
when were your parents born?
49 and 52 or 53.
Okay, our parents are like the same age.
Yeah, so it's like, well, at least in my experience, my parents were like that, and a lot. I mean, it was like the thing. You have a corporate job, you stay in that job, you
work there
you work your way up, and you retire, and
forever. You work up, you retire. Someone else takes your position, doing the same thing.
And I think my generation was it had been creeping, but my generation post college, like I would bet 30% of us had degrees that we were using, that we meant to use it. The rest of us had degrees in, mine was communication, and I was fucking selling beer. I got a master's in sports management. I'm selling beer.
I cannot tell you how many beers I've been at a craft beer bar or a brewery as a consumer, a customer, that I've sold to people just sitting there because I was just talking to them. So, that's the micro level of that, even though it's not a non-employee, and then it's all communication. So you're not really out of your field. It's all communication anyway. So,
well, but that's like we're like so many of us are different than our parents in that respect. And then if you look ahead to the Gen Z kids, like that's an extremely entrepreneurial generation, because the millennials, they're not, and not anywhere near that. But like that group, like I read a stat that like 60% of them work for themselves or want to work for themselves when they answer those surveys. And I was like, fuck, then I start thinking about what you just said. You need to have balance. And I was like, God damn, dude, if everybody goes
the nice thing,
be Gary Vaynerchuk, it ain't going to work. And
the nice thing about entrepreneurship is that a good portion of those people are going to fail, and then there's going to be that balance is going to be naturally selected into it anyway.
Yep.
And I'm not saying I want people to fail. I'm saying people are going to fail. Whether they keep trying after they fail or not is a whole nother discussion.
Or they do both. Or they, like Spencer's doing. Well, do you want to be able to leave one to just do the other?
I mean, for sure. I mean, there's, as much as I love my job, like, you don't stay at a company for 8 years because you don't like it, right?
Right.
And there's something about coming into my job as an entry-level employee, and now, like, I'm the only trainer for the 5th largest company in our industry, right? But at the same time, if I could only make and sell snacks, and then the real dream, to probably answer the question a better way, it's coming full circle now, it might have been a little stoned. The most ideal thing that I'm looking forward to is where, like, I don't have to make the shit anymore. Do I enjoy making it? Yes. I have trust issues. Like, you can ask my girlfriend. Like, I hate, like, she wants to always, like, try to help. And I'm like, yeah, like, you can help. Like, put stickers on stuff, you know? Like, I just have trust issues with letting other people help. And, like, sometimes that means I'm slicing 50, 60, 70 pounds of meat in one sitting after my day job to try to, like, get all these orders out, you know, in an adequate amount of time. But the real dream and the hope with that factory, to elaborate on that again, was, like, they take over production. And I just become a salesman because that's what I like doing. I've trained salespeople for like 10 years and been a salesperson for longer, and that's what I would love to do. I think about my numbers and I'm like, what if I got that like 60 hours back a week that I spend going to the store, slicing meat, making marinades, you know, all that stuff. If I didn't have to do any of that anymore, as much as like I love it and I have that passion for it, if I could just sell it, that would be amazing. And I think like the sales would, I don't know what they wouldn't do. I don't want to put a number on double, triple, but like if I had all that time just to walk around and be like, try this, it would, you know, go a big way.
I understand exactly what you're saying. There's a real common phrase. It's called working on the business, not in the business. And it's a really difficult thing for most small startups to ever get out of that place. And you end up not doing what you're good at doing, and you do a lot of stuff you're not that good at doing, which means the business is suffering. But you didn't have the resources set up to make sure you had those people in place, and that's the toughest part. You know, most people aren't starting small businesses if they got $1 million in the bank.
Exactly.
They don't need to. They're doing other stuff. And so,
I got so good with a meat slicer though. And like, it's going to be a talent that I'll never need to use again. But I can slice meat better than anyone that I know.
Well, maybe you should do a TV. Maybe you should do a TV show then. Like, do a TV show cutting meat and making jerky. That's how you get your work in. But then that's it. And you could sell that.
See, now I'm just picturing like a.
It's like Guy Fieri with a little show, but you're fucking slicing meat.
Now that's what I'm picturing, like a History Channel type of show where you're like, my name is Spencer, and I slice meat and season it. And then you got like the slow cut of like you just like slicing the meat and
some meat riffs.
But and in that scenario, if you got that set up, that would allow you to like. You could work on even more flavors and just kind of mess around with doing that, and obviously, you know, selling as well.
Yeah.
But it would open you up to get even more time to make more Bubba's Bold, which is my favorite flavor of jerky. And
I've got some sauce left over. Have I ever sent you the sauce?
You sent me a whole thing of the sauce, and I loved it. I used it on everything. It was fantastic. Tell your buddy it was amazing. I'm looking for some more.
It wasn't you, but there's definitely at least one or two people I told that I would do that I probably forgot about. But I'm glad to hear it wasn't you live on it.
No, it came here. I DM'd you that it some of it leaked out, but the remainder I went to town on, and we greatly enjoyed it here. So
I just sent some to my buddy with the last batch. I sent some up to my buddy in New Jersey that I know from high school too. I took like one of the little salsa containers I have. I was able to put some of the extra barbecue sauce in.
Yeah.
Send it with the jerky.
It's good stuff. So one of these times, Matt, if I have to, I'll bring down some. It's this Bubba's Bold, and it's like this like mustard base. It's not on there right now. I just checked.
Well, wait a minute, but I can order some other flavors on the website, and that gets shipped to me, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got a little bit more of the sauce too. I might be able to hook you guys up.
It's fantastic. It's like a mustard base, like barbecue sauce, so like that Carolina kind of style, and it's fantastic. It's really good. Anyway, I talked him into sending me an amount of the actual barbecue sauce, so well worth it in my mind.
Nice.
I tweak up the sauce a little bit when I make the marinade because like you lose some stuff. I've come to find out when you dehydrate, but the sauce by itself, like when you're putting that on barbecue, it's so fun.
It's real good. Well, so that we can come back and tie this into craft beer. You like beer, obviously. We talked to you like to drink some craft beer. What's your favorite kind of style? What do you like to drink?
I used to be able to get away with just saying like I like IPAs, and then like I feel like maybe they've expanded more, or maybe I've learned more. I'm also on a beer podcast. Like the brewery near my house has told me, based off what I like, that my favorite is like the West Coast IPAs. Apparently, I never knew this about myself, but I would always drink all their IPAs, and like over time I went there enough. It's a mile from my house. I went there enough that like there's two they alternate. And I literally was like, why do I like those two? They're like, oh, well, they're both West Coast. That's why we alternate them. I'm like, so that's the secret.
So
that's
now
the
you
secret
know.
right there.
Yeah, you appreciate a little more of a firm bitterness in your IPA and a little earth pine, so to speak, to it. You know, there's a ton of people out there who love those IPAs. It's kind of weird. Not that many of them get made anymore. Obviously, you can still get, you know, Bell's Two Hearted and these like big beers are out there. But from a, you know, local brewery standpoint, people will have regular American IPAs on now and again, but it's all New England shit for the most part. And it's not, doesn't mean it's bad beer, but it all is, because that's what's selling.
Is it this way down there? Like up here, if a bar has Bell's, people will be like, you have Bell's? How'd you get it? That's how it is up here. If someone has Bell's on tap, people freak out that they actually have it on tap. Like I don't know if that was like a countrywide thing or if that's just like it's hard to get up here.
Oh, I don't know. I'm from Minnesota, and it's out of Michigan, so Bell's is all over the Twin Cities area all the time.
Gainesville, when I go to, you know, craft beer bars, Bell's Two Hearted is like kind of, it's just there. It's just there. It's just constantly there. I mean, we've had other beers that have been kind of like what you're talking about, and then later on became that kind of, well, it's just there. It's available. It's always available. But in Gainesville, at least, like I could drive into Gainesville and probably find Bell's Two Hearted pretty easily. But a lot like what Matt's saying, there are so many like New England hazy IPA things now that like it's almost like some of these other ones are getting pushed off the taps a little bit more in favor of those more fruity, citrusy type of flavors.
It's less bitter. It's that's what it is.
It's just so accessible to the crowd that likes beer beyond like.
But they don't love bitter.
But they don't love. Yeah, and they're not enthusiasts like the way I am. That I'm like, oh man, this one is really, really bitter. I love it. So there's just...
Yeah, I'm not like that.
I mean, what sells is what sells, and bars are going to put on what sells. And unless you have like customers coming in that are driving those sales, they're going to purchase what sells.
Yeah.
And I get it. You know, like obviously you want to sell the stuff and you want people to come back, so you're clearly going to put on what's a good seller. I mean, if you made a beef jerky flavor and it just didn't sell like at all, like you're not going to keep like offering that on your website. You're going to be like, all right, well, people don't like this shit, so let me just go make something else then, or go back to, you know, the original. And like, it is what it is. And as someone who has a like broad taste palette with beer, it frustrates me sometimes, but I can always go into beer stores and buy cans. Like there's all sorts of stuff that's not going to be on draft, and it's no problem to me. I don't mind. But sometimes it would be nice to have more easy access to some of these styles that people don't like as much. Like we talked about last week, the black IPAs. I think they're really tasty.
I've had some of those that I can't think of the names.
And my friend Kevin, who we talked about when we were talking about the hops place that you were talking about.
Oh, Hang 'em in Michigan?
Yeah.
Hang 'em High.
And then he's like, so on the black IPA, I don't know if you get it down there, but Bell's makes a Bell's Black Hearted, and they release it around Valentine's Day, and it's a black IPA based off of the Two Hearted. And I was like, oh shit, I never knew about that. I really hope I can get that one day. So
yeah, Yeah, that's cool.
Enthusiasts like things a lot more than the mainstream, and the mainstream is what drives the market.
But I'll say this too, in the beer world at least it's a little different. If you have a tap room, we have, it's all our beer. When customers come in to our brewery, you can't, the numbers, but if I just don't want to ignore the people who love to drink brown ales. Like because I don't believe that me having 6 IPAs on instead of 3 is going to help me sell more. You know what I mean? Like 3 is enough. I don't know.
I used to only like brown ales. I used to not like IPAs, and like I'd look for the brown ale at the breweries. And it's funny, I didn't think about it until just now. I don't remember the last time I saw one.
Yeah, we made one. It's barrel aged, but it's still 6.2%. Yeah, 6.2% drinkable beer. Rum barrel aged with coffee and vanilla. It's fucking dope. And not many people make brown ales, 1, and 2, not many people make barrel aged beers that you can actually drink without passing out. And so I think that part was kind of nice. But yeah, I mean, browns are hard to find. Ambers, like someone will keep on whatever the local amber is in some cases. I think Big Storm makes one too that's like on a lot around here because they just don't really exist anymore either. Red ales, you don't see a whole lot of those anymore. And and that would be a really cool flight too. Just some of those.
You guys ever had Barking Squirrel?
No.
I want to say it's a red, but like I feel like it dances on the line of being a little bit towards a brown ale, but I think they consider it a red. I liked it a lot. It was
Barking Squirrel.
Barking Squirrel. I think they call it a lager, but
yeah,
way back in memory banks there. My long-term memory is pretty good. That doesn't get affected by my vices.
Hop City.
Yeah,
have you ever heard of squirrel bark? Because I didn't know that was a thing until about 2013. Squirrels actually bark. You guys have a nature segment on this beer podcast.
we'll have to,
it's the weirdest thing I've ever
in
seen in my life. I've seen a squirrel bark in a tree.
Is that what they're doing when they're making those noises? Barking? Or is it a different noise?
It's
I know they do like a chirp.
Bark.
I know they do like a chirpy sound, which like a little chittering type of thing, but I feel like I have heard that they'll do like a little bark thing. It just depends on I don't know. I'd have to look this up. I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to get into the details of it, but I have heard that, but I've also heard them chirping at me from the tree like I did something wrong and they're going to come down here and tell me what I did wrong, like in the parking lot, like, oh damn bro, leave me alone, all right?
I just live a weird life. This is how my life works. I found that beer at a just a random like beer store in Virginia or in New Jersey rather, because like liquor stores in New Jersey, you have to go to a liquor store and they sell beer and liquor at the same store. No grocery stores, nothing like that. And I was like, oh, Barking Squirrel, this sounds cool. I bought it. I had no idea what it meant. It just had a squirrel on it. And I was like, this sounds good. I drank it. It was amazing. And my buddy, my roommate, was like, oh yeah, because squirrels bark. I'm like, I don't fucking bark. And I swear to God, on anything, like within like a week or two of me trying this beer, he's yelling,
barked at you.
Come outside, come outside. And I walk outside, and there's a squirrel on this goddamn tree barking, and like it's on all fours. I swear to God, on all fours, like on a branch, like the branch, and like it's on all fours. And I'm not gonna mimic the noise because I really, honestly, don't remember exactly what the noise sounded like. I'm sure you can YouTube it. We can dub the voiceover right now, But
all right, just do this real quick. Just do this, like pause. All right, I'll see if I can find something. I'll dub the sound in for you.
Promise you don't do anything else with that picture. And then
no promises. Look, big meat.
Big meat. But it was very bizarre, and that's just like how my life usually works out. It's like I see something like I don't know what the fuck that is, and then the next day it's like, oh well, that is a barking squirrel in the tree outside your house. I'm like, who knew? Well, who knew?
See, if you're not learning something every day, like what are you even doing with your life, right?
We know now.
Exactly. Wait till you see one bark at you, and you'll be real confused.
It's probably going to happen.
Maybe not.
Now I won't be, but it's probably going to happen to me like tomorrow, and I'll be like, God damn it, Spencer! Like this shit just happened to me. Like what the?
A squirrel chasing down the street.
Do you drink sours, Spencer?
So it's funny because I was thinking about that as we started going through like what breweries serve and what they all got. I can't, and it's weird. Let me preface this. I love sour candy. My favorite candy bar is a Take 5, which is obviously not sour, but if you haven't had one of those, get one now.
They're awesome.
My favorite candy, if I'm not eating like a Take 5 or something, I'm not big on sweets. Like I love like sour candy, but for some reason I just can't, for the life of me, get into sour beers. I've worked a sour fest where like they're like, you can have every sour beer on draft for free. I just couldn't do it. Now luckily they also had IPAs and I drank them. But like I couldn't. I don't know. I can't. I don't know what it is about them. It just doesn't.
Yeah. Well, you look. You like very bitter, and a lot of those people don't also like sour. I don't like really bitter. I don't mind some bitterness, but I also don't like really sour. But I like sours.
So it's a common thing. I didn't know it's a common thing. Everyone was looking at me like a dickhead. What do you mean you can't drink sour? And I'm like,
and I'm clearly the unicorn who like. The bitterest you can give me, the tangiest sour you can give me. The only thing I don't like in my beers too much of, like I'll drink a little bit of it, is super sweet. Like if I drink it and I just like, I pucker because of the sweetness, like not because of sour, but just because of the sweetness, like
I can't.
That's one of the things I can't do. Like, and I can do a very little amount of like a framboise, like, and or something along. It's like a raspberry sweetness. It's
okay.
So we used to do, when I worked at the craft beer bar, we would do like a shark bite, and we would have like whatever lager, and we would put like a splash of framboise, but we would serve it in these little like 5-ounce like little like stem glasses. I don't even know what they're called, and people would order it, and I was like, I just can't do it. It's so sweet that after like a sip, I'm like, I'm good. But it's really good, like as like if you do like a wheat beer or something, and you just put a splash of the framboise in, it's real good to be like a just like kind of an additive. But just by itself, I can't do it. So like very few things in beer will I not drink. But sweet beers are one of the things I won't. But I'll take anything as sour or as hoppy as hoppy bitter specifically as you can give me, and I'll love it.
Yeah,
but I'm a unicorn.
I just like I like trying everything, and I usually like trying to have food with my beers because it's how I drink wine too. I usually really enjoy that. So I mostly can drink anything, but I don't. The extremes on either end don't. They don't do it for me, and so that way. I think I keep trying though, and I always tell people this with their palates, you got to keep drinking it though. Yeah. Even if it's not a lot, you got to keep trying it because your palate will evolve and change. And I mean, I know people who went from I only drink porters to wanting all these IPAs and sours because they just like kept trying the stuff. And then, it's like first time I realized I liked red wine. You go to a vineyard, they put 4 red wines in front of you. They're all different. And you drink all 4 of them, and you end up liking one of them better than the other 3. And that's kind of, and you're like, then you trick yourself into being like, oh, I do like that. And then, you can keep kind of moving that way.
I hated myself. Well, I didn't hate myself. I hate myself now of my mid-20s when I judge myself. I liked myself then, but now I hate myself then. Because, I liked, Pinot Grigio, and, I definitely only drank brown ales, and then now I'm like, oh, I like, give me like a double or triple IPA, something that's like, dry shit, and then I used to love rum, I used to love sweet shit, and I love rye. I got 3 ryes behind me, that's what I like now, and I drink. If I want cheap beer, I drink PBR because I can drink 100 of them. I
discovered rum down here in Florida. Where I come from, the rum merchandise section at a liquor store is not great. And so it's like I had a lot of Captain Morgan in college, and of course that's rum. And so I'm like, I hate rum. That tastes like candy, and it makes me sick. And so I didn't know anything about rum. I got here, and I went to a liquor store, and I stopped the clerk, and I was like, are both of these shelves for the entire aisle rum? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, holy shit. There were so many different rums that I'd never seen or had. I'm like, are any of these sipping rums? Like, and I've started finding my ways to what rums I like to sip. And it is.
Are you doing that now? This is now real time?
Oh yeah, I've been doing that for since I moved here for like 4 years now. And
have you in the sweetness? You're fine with the sweetness of rum. Then.
I don't like the sweeter stuff. So I tend to lean more towards either if it's sweeter, it's got to be really, really well aged. And so those are expensive. Sense. But otherwise, I tend to lean toward Haitian rums because they seem to have a sort of cognac inspiration to them. They're lighter and they're less sweet. And also Trinidad, I've discovered, because my wife's husband is my brother-in-law. He's from Trinidad. And so we started having some Trinidadian rums, and those are really good too. Not as sweet as like a lot of Venezuelan rums can be pretty sweet. And then I learned about rum agricole, which is when they make rum directly from the sugarcane, not making molasses from the sugarcane. And that almost turns into like this. It's like earthy, and it's a totally different kind of rum too, and they're kind of hard to find. So, like,
I want to drink rum.
I know.
I don't know the science behind it. You went more technical than I know about this rum I was going to tell you about. You might not be thrilled about it because it is definitely sweeter, but I found it at a liquor store in Jersey, and like it was a liquor store that was in like one of the shopping centers that had Save-A-Lot and Dollar General and
oh yeah.
Who's the place who will give you TV and furniture on rental? What's that place called?
Oh, I don't know.
Rent-A-Center.
Oh yeah, God,
yeah,
I don't think I've ever been in a Rent-A-Center before.
So and then Goodwill was next to it. So it wasn't a big shopping center. This shopping center, the way Jersey works, because like I said earlier, you can only buy beer and liquor from one spot. Was this bar? It was like Black Horse Pike, which is like just a road to go in Atlantic City. They mainly made their profit off like single beer cans and airplane bottles, you know. Or if you have any listeners in Boston, it's, you know, the Nips. And like that's what they mainly sold. What was awesome about there was they would have nice bourbons, nice whiskeys, nice Crown Royals that they would put out on the shelf, and then there's like, no one buys this stuff. So I'd walk in and be like, haha, and like grab it. But to come back to the rum conversation, I bought some stuff there one day. It was called Old Monk. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Old Monk. So I bought this stuff, and the reason why I think you might not be too thrilled about it was it tasted a lot like maple syrup.
Ooh, yeah. Some of them.
And
I know what you mean.
Personally don't like maple too much, but like it tastes a lot like maple syrup. But the funniest thing was, like, I didn't know at the time when I bought it that it was like a super like it's really popular apparently in India. Because there's a guy whose music I was listening to, like a smaller dude, like moderately big, but like not like a superstar. But he like saw my post and was like, "Where the hell did you get Old Monk in New Jersey?" He's like, "That's what we drink like over in India."
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, dude, like it tastes like maple syrup. So I was like, it was good. And at the time, it didn't bother me that much. Now I'm thinking about it again, like I could not, because like my sweetness tolerance is just gone away. I just can't do sweet anymore. But when I liked rum at the time, I was like, this is pretty cool.
Because I feel like the more real stuff you drink, flavor-wise, your body begins to tell you like that's fake. That's bullshit. I don't need that. Like it's weird because like I had to quit drinking Gatorade, like the regular Gatorade, a long time ago, and it was all about the sugar. There's no doubt about it, you know.
And either.
But I can drink, and I got to Vitamin Water Zero, and now I'm Gatorade Zero. I can drink it, so it's like a Powerade Zero. They all have them now, and somehow they just are like, okay, we don't need all that sugar. And I'm like, yeah, Jesus Christ. Like Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew. I couldn't drink regular Mountain Dew once I got to like 30. I had to drink Diet Mountain Dew, and then I got done.
Never do Mountain Dew.
I could not drink that anymore. Probably 5 years ago, I couldn't even have one, not one.
I can never do Mountain Dew, but I'm probably going to do Mountain Dew when I start my podcast because I don't know if you guys saw Mountain Dew's coming out with alcohol Mountain Dew.
Yeah,
I saw it. Seltzer shit. Boston Beer Company is making it. They got Pepsi roots. The whole thing is incest and it's just disgusting.
It's probably terrible, but I will drink one live on camera for the fans just to let them know how bad it is.
Absolutely, I'm gonna have one. There's no doubt about it.
I've done a couple where I do a shotgun and then I do a tasting. I may have to shotgun one of those, and I'll give you my opinions from that perspective. Let's just get it done and over with.
Do you shotgun one, then do like a taste tester of a little bit of it?
I haven't.
Funny and
the stuff
in a weird way.
I've done a couple of those. I haven't really it's hard for me to figure out the logistics of shotgunning and filming because I have my laptop, and so to film with a laptop, I have to tilt way back, or I shotgun up here and spill it all over the floor. Or I do it on the back porch, you know what I'm saying? So I have this I have this little koozie thing, but it has a funnel, so you can pour the beer in, and then you can.
I've seen that so many times.
You can beer bong out of that. I just bought one day, and it works really well for what I need it for. But
that's just a beer bong.
Yeah, but it's a small one that I can put on my neck, which is very convenient.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
you might be able to switch between two cameras because I got this camera I'm working on now.
I've got
webcam, and my laptop's over here, and I found a button that I can
I've got a new webcam. I have a little tripod thing I can put it on. So I may just do that and put it on the table on our back porch. But anyway, that's logistical stuff on a thing that I've barely even done very much. But I wanted to move it along here before Matt's edibles kick in fully too far. You recently, a month ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, something like that.
July 1st, I guess.
A month and a week and a half, somewhere around there.
Signed
an NLI deal. Right when all this stuff started occurring, with one of the Florida Gator football players. Tell us about that. How'd that go down? And tell us about, obviously, the player. I'll let you speak on him and what this means for you as a burgeoning brand.
Yeah, it went down like most of the things we were kind of talking about earlier, where I find a new plateau and it just keeps progressively jumping to new things just because I say something out loud. Or in this case, somebody else said something out loud. So I'm pretty sure June has 30 days. So it was June 30th, I want to say, right before I got conked out for the night. Everyone, the whole Twitter line was talking about NIL deals. That shit starts tomorrow. What's going to happen? And didn't think anything of a specific player or anything like that. I just left a tweet and was wait, so I can sign a player tomorrow? For my business account, I'm I can sign a player to an endorsement deal tomorrow? That's cool. And sent the tweet. Boop. And I grew up I was born in late 80s. I grew up watching all the Gatorade commercials and seeing all these endorsements. And Gatorade's always the one that pops in my mind. Michael Jordan, and then I forget her name now, and I should have known this, but Mia Hamm, soccer player growing up.
Yeah.
Anything you can do, I can do better. Nothing like that. That always was pops in my head when I think of endorsements. That's what I always think of. And that's always in my head. So that was in my head when I sent this tweet as a half joke, so I can sign a University of Florida player tomorrow, and I didn't say haha, but in my head I was haha, send tweet, whatever the fuck it says, send. And then somebody commented on that and was well, with the big meat thing, you should sign Desmond Watson. And I need to go back historically because I've now told this story too many times to not give this person credit, but he said that, and I was that's a hilarious idea. And my day job's been so crazy, and the website with like the jerky's been so crazy. Like I forgot about it until about like 4:30, 4:45 the next day, and I was like working, sitting where I'm sitting now, and I'm like, oh shit! Like somebody said that I should sign Dez to a deal yesterday, and now I actually could. And I was like, I haven't taken a lunch today, so I was like, let me take a lunch. So like I took a lunch. I mocked up a T-shirt that was like much more of a rough draft than like what Tilly's wearing for these guys watching on video. And I posted it, and the funniest thing was like I posted it as a like let me see if he responds kind of thing. And like everyone took it differently. So like some people thought it was a joke, which it never was a joke. Even when like I say like I was being half serious, it was more of like, what are the odds of me signing a player to an NIL deal? Like who the hell am I? Right, I'm doing this all by myself. And then another half were like, yeah, that's a great idea. Like you definitely should do that. And then the funniest thing was what actually got the wheel to start turning was within like an hour of me posting like the mock-up T-shirt, Desmond, he sent me a message and he was like, are you guys serious? And like, are you all serious? Like if you are, I'm down. I was like, I'm dead serious. And then within like that same hour, I went back and made the shirt that Tilly's wearing. You know, I made sure it's like the right colors, the right size, like made sure it print as well as it did. And I came back and was like, me and him like talked for like an hour, and he was like, he's like, what does this mean? And I'm like, we're both 6 hours into this thing. What does it mean? I was like, here's my idea. You know, we talked about some different ideas, some that we haven't done yet. But I was like, initially, I'm gonna make you a T-shirt, and 100% of proceeds from the T-shirt you get. So I designed the T-shirts, and like we're closing in on a lot of T-shirts, and it's awesome because he gets 100% of those proceeds, and like. I've talked to a lot of people about it, and like I had some articles that popped up, some that they just wrote without talking to me, some like I'll give the shout out to like The Athletic because they actually hit me up and wanted to interview me and talk to me about it, and it was really cool to talk to them and let them know like, yeah, like literally as soon as this T-shirt is ordered, like they're made to ship, like they get printed the same way, like fresh, like my jerky gets made, which is cool. So like I don't have inventory. I don't have a bunch of shirts laying around. Every time somebody clicks order on one of those shirts, this warehouse makes the shirt. They ship it to the customer, and then I pay Des his money off every shirt. You know, it's awesome to be able to do that. I ran cross country and track in college. You know, at a much smaller level, at a much smaller school, but we used to get $2 and $3, you know, $2 for breakfast, $3 for lunch. And that was only if the trip was far enough. Mm-hmm. If it was close enough to campus, we got nothing. You know, that was all we got. So like to be able to give back is the greatest thing for me. You know, do I get sales from it in the long run of things? Yeah, I do. Not every person, but like tons of people order the shirt and then order jerky too. But it's awesome to be able to like do that, and like it's cool to be able to talk to him every day too, and he's always like, how much we're at. Like, he's super engaged. Like, how many are we at? And he's not even hitting me up like, how much more money's coming. He's just like, super like, how many shirts are out there? Like, how many will be sold? Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw the video. I wish he was wearing the shirt for this video because we could have sold 1 million shirts. But the whole locker room tried to tackle him.
Yeah, saw that.
the whole linebacker crew tried to tackle him in the locker room, and no one could tackle him. I'm still trying to figure out. No one responds to me. Someone came in at the end of a cheap shot, and they got to talk to me next. But
well, I'll have to wear my shirt one of these games because I'm on the second row right near the end of the bench. Maybe I can get it on TV for you.
I'm hoping. We have enough. I don't know if everyone who ordered one is going to Bama game, but there's enough that are out there that I went to school for English again and dropped out. But there's enough out there. There's a good amount that could be at that game for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome. It sounds like a win-win for everybody. I mean, charity is nice and shit, but it ain't like you're a billionaire. So you have to do the business correctly too, and make money. But to be able to use it, what you're doing, to then be able to help a little bit more with something else, knowing that essentially that's going to be marketing dollars for you, and that's okay because you're not losing anything on it.
Well, everyone's
And-
supposed to win. In a good deal, everyone loses
Yeah.
just a little bit, but everybody wins as well at the same time.
Yeah,
That's good compromise right there.
It's really the only way that we can ever donate anything to anybody that asks is in trade or that's the way that how you can use your apparatus and platform what you do to be able to help. It just can't cost you money. That's like what you know what I mean? It's like I can't spend money on it for free.
I mean, even like the Nikes of the world and those type of companies, when they have endorsement deals, they're getting something out of it.
Of course.
Like they're not doing it just for like publicity that's not going to benefit them. So it's great that smaller companies, smaller organizations such as yourself can both sign athletes and give them a little something, but then also benefit from it. If everyone's winning, it's a perfect scenario.
That's awesome. How did you pick Desmond Watson?
Yeah, Desmond Watson. It was off that person's suggestion in the comment. Like they said, well, like if you're going to sign somebody, it should be him.
Why did they say?
Well, they said that because so to let you know, he showed up to campus as a freshman at 6'5". I want to say it was 434 pounds.
Oh my God!
And now, like to kind of backtrack, for you.
Holy shit!
The whole big meat thing. The whole big meat thing wasn't initially like curated for Des, but that's what made this random person suggest it, because what happened was
all right, now I got it.
About a year, it might have been over a year now. Time's flying with this COVID shit, but like forever ago, I started sponsoring on the same network we're talking on now. I started sponsoring the life coach segment on the Big 3 roll up, and like my thing is like when I sponsor something, like I want to give a promo code for people who are listening to get a better deal. So when they go to my website, they can get a little discount if they don't believe me how good it is, right? But I was like, I need something like catchy, People used to forget. I sponsored Stadium and Gale first, our Gator podcast, and like people would forget the promo code. So I was like, I need something catchy, something's gonna hit, right? And they always said the Kush is big Kush. So I was like, Big Meat. It's the best promo code. It's perfect. And without this whole NIL deal ever coming to fruition, I already have people who comment on stuff, post on stuff, DM me and say Big Meat. Grown adults, saying to another grown man, Big Meat. I'm like, this is hilarious. But that it kind of gained legs, because Silk's ad reads were so funny and like they were just like everyone was just like, this is hilarious, and it just like it grew wings, like I was saying earlier about like kind of like being like a cult classic almost, so to speak. So then that's why, like I already had Big Meat gear, like this hat I'm wearing, and like I had other shirts, like they already existed. But then someone was like, "This is the perfect marriage," and like I was like, "That is hilarious," and other people were like, "That is funny, that is good," and that's part of the reason why initially Desmond was like, "If you guys are serious, if you all are serious, I'm down." And I was like, "No." I was like, people might be making jokes. I was like, I was dead serious the whole time. Like I don't take the time to like make this T-shirt and write up these ideas to not be serious. I was like, I really think this is like a perfect match where we both win off some things, right?
Yeah.
And what does he weigh now? Wait, how is he?
He's down to 400.
Is he a sophomore?
No, he's still a freshman. He hasn't played yet.
Redshirt freshman.
Oh, redshirt freshman. Yeah. All right.
You're not a redshirt. This is gonna be first year.
Oh, it's first year. Okay.
Yeah, first year. Regular freshman.
We're talking COVID. We're talking COVID time. I
he just got
swear to God, it seemed like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
He just got to campus.
Yep.
As a 400. How much did he weigh?
He was at I think 434, but he's down to 400.
Has to be down. There's no.
He's dropped that. And if you've seen some other
that's too heavy. That's too heavy, man.
you gotta see some videos. This guy moves. He's got some moves that like. I'm probably like 135 now. I've been working out during COVID. I have really fast metabolism, but he's got moves like he's more nimble than me. His balance and everything is crazy.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
He's a
That's
freak
pretty.
of athlete. And you
Yeah,
can't
he
teach that
is.
size, the little cliche. But he's.
Well,
I've
it's
seen
just
him
like,
push
and
the
he's
sled
and,
around.
he's going to trim up even more, and it's going to help him even more with all that too. Like we've seen, Ethan White came in off of injury in his high school senior season and came in and dropped a bunch because Coach Savage got him on the right workout plan. I'm sure Watson is going to be on the same plan too, same type of thing anyway.
They can't.
Apparently, Coach Savage is my uncle. I don't know. I found that out today. He's not actually my uncle, but
Uncle Spencer.
Apparently he's my uncle. Twitter thinks.
He's gonna get. He's,
apparently we look alike.
You should ask your uncle to send along some workout plans for me.
I've been trying to get him to put the jerky on the meal plan. I'm like, it's all natural.
All natural, high protein.
Bro, high protein.
It's gonna have some salt in it. They need to retain water.
Yeah.
I think that's what some of the lazy jerky.
Maybe you need to make maybe you need to make a Gatorade marinated jerky and send it along over to the University of Florida. Don't do that.
I almost said that was going to be awful, but like honestly, if I put a little bit of Gatorade in the lemon pepper flavor, it might not be that bad.
I don't think it would be that bad.
I would use the sugar-free version because I'm not putting sugar in it, but that might.
I bet if you did like the grape, I bet the grape would be good.
Purple jerky.
Purple jerky.
That sounds a little weird. It didn't sound weird when I said it, but then when I heard it out loud again, I'm like,
when you heard someone else say it, it was a little bit like, never mind.
Okay, sorry.
Well, I need to cut off here. I can always leave, and y'all can chat for a little bit longer if you want. But
yeah, it's all good, man.
Try to take some potty training kids to the bathroom. So.
I gotta go to bed, or it's gonna get ugly.
Well, we'll just close it out here. Spencer, it was great having you on. I always love hearing the story of your jerky, and I like to hear how the story's evolving through time because I've been hearing this story and Stadium and Gale, Big Three roll up, various avenues for so long that I almost feel like a part of the journey at this point. And I just ordered some more jerky because I realized I hadn't in a while. It made me feel bad, so look forward to that.
Well, yeah, dude, that's great to talk to you, and I love the story. Keep grinding, keep hustling.
Thank you.
And yeah, man, we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
All right.
We'll do it again, dude.
Cheers.